Hello, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly. In this video we're talking about golf balls and in particular the sort of decisions that you need to make to try and find the right golf ball for your game. There's of course a whole host of different factors to think about. There's feel, there's spin, flight, distance, and of course the price. Let us know what's important to you. What of those factors would you say is the most important thing in your game? Hit the pause button, let us know, then carry on watching the video. Because I've got in my hands here two new golf balls from Titleist. There's the all-new Tour Soft that comes into the range, replacing the previous generation NXT Tour and the NXT Tour S, and the Velocity. And both of these balls fit in what Titleist describe as their performance category. So they're not as expensive as the Pro V1. The Pro V1 is on the market around about the £50 per dozen mark. The Tour Soft comes in at £32 per dozen, so about £20 less. And then the Velocity is a little bit less than that, still, it's at £26 per dozen. So we split the test up into two parts. We did one part where we were looking at the performance on a launch monitor and one part where we're out here on the golf course. Now let's start with the performance on the launch monitor. Right, so you join me in the ForeSight Sports studios. This is them, pretty cool. And we are going to test now the two new performance golf balls from Titleist. So we've got the Velocity in the white packet and the all new Tour Soft in the blue packet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit each ball with a wedge, a mid-iron and a driver and just see what the numbers throw up. So just hit a series of shots, take out any really woefully bad, whether they're really bad strikes or wayward misses, and just see if there are any trends that we can pick out in those numbers. I'm going to start with the Velocity with the wedge, then I'm going to go to the Tour Soft with the wedge, mid-iron, driver, and work it like that. Hopefully we should be able to see some differences between these two new golf balls. Now, the launch monitor numbers tell a really interesting story. Starting with the wedge, look at how much the Tour Soft was spinning. This is my 46-degree wedge that I carry, and the Tour Soft was spinning at 8,368 versus the Velocity, which is a low spinning golf ball, and it was spinning less at 7,600. Now that means that you're not going to have the same stopping power with the Velocity as you get with the Tour Soft wedge. The peak height also makes a difference. I was getting a little bit more height out of the Tour Soft than I was out of the Velocity, but having said that, what I would say is that the Velocity is still quite a high flying golf ball. 32-yard peak height for a wedge for me. It felt like a good ball flight, something that should stop in the green fairly quickly, although obviously not as quickly as with the Tour Soft. I then moved into the 6-iron, and the numbers are fairly similar actually. So a little bit more spin with the Velocity than I was getting with the Tour Soft. The Tour Soft was flying a little bit higher, so not too much of a difference. Interestingly, the Tour Soft with the mid-iron was going a little bit further and was flying a little bit higher. So 35-yard peak height with the Tour Soft, that I was getting a little bit more stopping power with my mid-iron. Now for me, the most interesting aspect of the launch monitor test was the driver. And look at the low spin performance of the Velocity. 1,756 for me is really low spinning. And it was delivering a little bit more distance, so it was carrying through the air 286. And I think when you add in the fact that the ball flight is a little bit less at 34 peak height and it was still carrying 286, you're getting really good overall distance. The Tour Soft is still a very long golf ball itself. It's carrying 283 for me, which is great. Peak height is a little bit higher and it was spinning also a little bit more. Now it's good to see that the differences that Titleist say that they've worked into the golf ball are actually there. The launch monitor data certainly backs that up. So what about the on-course testing? Well, the first thing I say is that neither of these is a Pro V1. You don't get the same levels of feel or the same level of spin control around the greens that you get with a Pro V1, but you're not going to. You know, £50 per dozen versus £32 per dozen for the Tour Soft, you are going to be giving up something, and what you give up through my testing would be that feel, that control around the greens. Having said that, the performance of the Tour Soft is really good. It's a really good all-round golf ball. You do get good feel. It might not be quite as good as a Pro V1, but it's still very good. You do get that little bit of spin control that you're looking for. I was testing this golf ball, the Tour Soft, using the new SM7 wedges by Titleist, and the spin control that I was able to get was really, really good, was really strong, and it'll be something that will help players score better. You do lose a little bit of that when you go into the Velocity. Now, did I notice that the Velocity was much longer than the Tour Soft out on the golf course? I'll be honest and say I didn't really. The Tour Soft is still a very long golf ball. The Velocity might be a fraction longer than the Tour Soft. Certainly the launch monitor numbers would say that. I wouldn't say that was something I particularly noticed while I was out on the golf course. So which of these two golf balls would I use? Well, it would be the Tour Soft. Now, I know it's a little bit more expensive, but for me, the more noticeable performance gains are around the green. And Titleist always say that if you are going to get fitted for a golf ball, start at the green and work your way back towards the tee. Both of these golf balls are long. This one offers you a little bit more control around the greens, and for me that provided me with a little bit more scoring potential than I would have with the Velocity. And what you're buying when you buy a Titleist golf ball is that knowledge that you're going to get something that's consistent, that's been really well made, and that should do what it says. Now, through the testing that we did, that both of these golf balls do what they say. If you do want a distance golf ball, then lean towards the Velocity. It was a little bit longer for me. It might well be a little bit longer for you. If you want something that's a good all-rounder, so you want distance, of course you want distance, but you also want that spin control around the greens, then the Tour Soft is a great option, and it comes in at a really good price point. Guys, leave comments below. Let us know which of these two golf balls you'd be leaning towards. What golf ball do you currently use? Will you be testing these two out? Leave comments below, let us know what you think. But for now, from here, it's goodbye.